If you're looking to make a change, to get improved performance, improve your sleep, and help you with your weight loss journey, try Optimum Day and Night. Make a change as soon as you can.
And these have been a real game changer in my health journey. Optimum Day helps your metabolism burn throughout the day, and Optimum Night helps you get a really good sleep throughout the night.
And here's some real life proof on screen right now. Both Robbie and Michael Owen teamed up with Oxford Natural for their wellness journey, and you can see the results for yourself.
So if you want to start your health journey today, click the link in the description below. Get 70% off your first order with the code WATTV. And we're going to start off with a complete deal, more or less anyway, with Radu Dragusin. Radu has arrived in Florence now. Tottenham have agreed the loan with an obligation to buy 21.4 million for Dragusin if he hits the right amount of game time. 10% sell-on fee as well should Fiorentina make any profit. He's arrived in Florence. He's set to undergo his medical today as well. So Spurs getting players out the door.
Yeah, sharpish. I wonder if the focus has been, obviously we've got so many signings in, and we want even more signings, but there has to be at some point focus on outgoings. And I know we've been burnt or been frustrated in the past, or we've been solely focused on outgoings first, and then we focus on the incomings. So it seems as though there's a better balance this time. Here he is arriving in Florence, and there's a video there just for confirmation to alleviate all doubt that he will be joining Fiorentina. It's there for all to see in front of our very eyes.
He turned up as the full kit wanker, Radu Dragusin. Look at that, in the full kit. It's unbelievable. Socks and everything.
Brilliant. I wonder what his agent is saying.
His agent is saying, don't worry, Radu.
This is only temporary.
Time, you'll be in Real Madrid.
Yeah, don't you worry. But yeah, I think it's important that we've got so many players to shift, and I like the way we've dealt with this, like under the radar, just out of nowhere, bam, we've agreed a deal. So it gives me confidence that there might be more deals in the pipeline that we're going to hear about very, very shortly, because it seems as though there's a real concerted effort at the moment to kind of concentrate a bit on outgoings now, as well as obviously all the incomings that we're all very excited about, and there's a lot of rumours we'll get into. But we obviously need to shift a hefty amount of players. So the more deals like this we can do, the better. And we got a very good price, I think, for Radu for me. I'm really happy with the deal that we've done. I think to be honest, all the sales that we've done so far, I'm really happy with the deals that we're getting. I think we're getting really good prices. So I think this Rafi guy, if he's heading the negotiations for how we're selling, I know Levy was known for getting great deals or eking out every last penny out of the buying club, but it seems as though, just like we're being very ruthless and moving quickly with the incomings, it seems that we're doing similar with the outgoings as well. We're not hanging around too much, but we are getting solid deals over the line.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm delighted with it. More to come, a lot more to come. So from now until the end of the transfer window, it could just be Spurs in overdrive. And, I think you'll probably say about 3 more in and plenty more out from now until the end of the window.
Could even be more in, depending on how many out,
True.
Which we'll talk about.
But I think 3 initially. And
well,
then
3 forwards for sure, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe if we sell someone in a certain position, and they can come in like a Jed Spence or something. But, Radu off to Fiorentina. Pretty much a done deal. And next up, we're going to talk about another deal that's very, very close to happening, which is Alfie Devine. I just want to take this time to think about Brian Daigle, a very sad time for him. But Alfie Devine, as Alistair Gold says, that he is undergoing a medical with Preston North End ahead of a permanent move. He'd accept to join the Championship side with other clubs interested as well. Alan Nixon said that Tottenham have agreed a £6 million transfer for Alfie Devine. Despite interest from other Championship clubs, Devine has taken the decision to return to Deepdale permanently. He obviously had a very good loan spell there last season, so we wish him all the best. Better than the fee that we agreed with them last summer when they took him on loan. So I guess that's got to be seen as a plus.
Yeah, I think 6 million for someone like Alfie Devine is not a terrible price. It's not like maybe, I do think, in the very near future, he's probably already worth a bit more than that. So I wouldn't say we've got a fantastic deal here, but I also think 6 million for a player of his career so far, it's more, we're talking more about potential when it comes to him having a higher value than maybe what he's shown. I do think he had a brilliant season. I think there's a really decent player, and I do think one day, maybe in the near future, he will be a Premier League player. I don't think he's going to be stuck in the Championship. I'm surprised, maybe Celtic balked at the price, or maybe he decided Championship was better for him than SPL. But I'm surprised if Celtic was seriously interested, he didn't kind of make that move. But maybe he's found a home. He's found somewhere where he's happy. I think when you're someone like Devine and you've been chopping and changing clubs for so long, maybe he gets the feeling it's time to find somewhere where he's really valued, where he's found a home, people really appreciate him, he feels loved, and it's harder to find than you think sometimes with in your career. So when you find it, you shouldn't give it up easily, I guess. And maybe he thought, if I have to go to Celtic, I have to prove myself again. It may be a step up in demands, but it's a new environment. I found somewhere where I'm appreciated, I'm loved, and I want to stay there. But from our point of view, it's weird they didn't take up the 4.5 million release clause and decided to wait and then pay an extra 1.5. But I'm guessing maybe there's less upfront now in this deal, and maybe that plays into their hands potentially.
Yeah, I mean, when we loaned him out to them, the report was that 4.5 is going to be well above their pay grade. It's going to smash their record transfer. There is no chance Preston are going to go to 4.45, and now they're going to 6.
Yeah.
So, happy days. I'm taking it. Next up,
what does that get our total up now this summer? So 50 for Vuskovic, 20, nearly 20 for Dragusin, 6 for...
Well, over 20 for Dragusin if you believe Ali Gold.
Well, depending on Romano and goal, let's call it 20. 20 for Dragusin, that's 70. You got 6 for Devine, 76. You got 8 for Valise, so that's 84 million.
Yeah.
We've got 84.
Yeah, you said Vuskovic.
Yeah. So we're on 84 million for Vuskovic, Devine, Dragusin, and Valise.
I know, and we haven't really sold anyone.
We haven't sold any of our first teamers yet.
Anyone that had made an impact for Tottenham.
That's meant. So we basically paid for Fernandes already.
Yeah.
With 4 players we were pretty much not going to use.
That's another 85 million in the coffers. Come on, guys.
It's crazy, isn't it? So, this is what we talk about when we're saying, when people talk about, you've overpaid for this player now. We just got 84 million for four players we were never going to use. So spending that on a Fernandes, who is going to be one of our main players, makes total sense.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's talk about Jed Spence. Interesting updates on him. First of all, he was fantastic when he came on for England.
Hero
in the game against Mexico in the Azteca. Athletic are reporting that Everton are interested in signing Jed Spence, 25, England international, among a number of defensive options Everton are considering, but he's only focused on the World Cup for now, which is obviously understandable. Paul O'Keefe is suggesting that Everton want to pay around £25 million for Jed Spence. That's a bit light for me.
Yeah.
Look, they have other options. Maybe they're going to favour something around the ballpark 25 million, but I think to sell Jed Spence, it's got to be 35, 40 million around that kind of fee.
Well, how much did we buy him for? 15?
I think it was around 20.
15 to 20. Maybe, I think it was 15 rising to 20, wasn't
Maybe,
it? I'm assuming he's met those clauses at this point. So if you're looking to sell him, considering when we bought him, he was a Championship player. And I know he had a decent, season when we bought him. Got in, obviously had a brilliant season, but we've developed him to a stage where he's now a World Cup starting player. He's an England international. He's a Premier League player now. He's been playing regularly in the Premier League for 18 months at least. So considering we've built him up to that point, you should be looking to at least double that price that we paid for him, and at least really. So 40 million I think should be the asking price. But the reality is, as always with these kind of deals, and when if we don't fancy him, we are looking to sell him, then obviously that could encourage buyers. It depends how desperate we are. If we are happy to keep him, then 40 million should be the price. But if De Zerbi wants to sell him, then you have to drop it a bit.
There is no chance that we are going to sell Radu Dragusin for 21 million and sell Spence for 25 million.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
There is no chance in hell.
I think the asking price, if they come in for him, the asking price is going to be at least 40. That's going to be the start of the negotiation. Yeah. Maybe they can get us down to maybe 35 plus add-ons or something around that, or 33 plus add-ons. Yeah, maybe that's acceptable. I don't see us selling for 25, not for a player that his quality. I'm not saying he's the best fullback in the league. I'm just saying he's good enough to be a £40 million fullback. So, yeah, I don't.
I think he'd be really good.
You know,
Everton as well.
Lewis Hall, when he went from when he was unproven, went from Chelsea to Newcastle. I know he had a few appearances for Chelsea, but he was one of their fringe players at the time, and he went for what, 30 million, didn't he?
I think he did, and I think
I know he's a good player, but still,
I think Jed Spence would suit Everton so well, in my opinion. Obviously, Seamus Coleman is gone now. They've got a space for him. They need a right back. I think they should be going for Jed Spence. I really do. I think it's a move that suits everyone. It suits Jed. It suits Everton, and probably suits Spurs. With SZY saying that De Zerbi just doesn't rate Spence, so it's looked like that we'll be open to letting him go. I think our starting negotiation point probably should be around 40, 45, and maybe settling at something like 35. I wouldn't be against that.
and I think that's a fair price. I think that's not a bad deal for Everton, especially in the current market. You're getting someone like Spence who's playing at the World Cup. It's just a shame from as a fan point of view. I do like Jed, and I think he's got a lot of value in the squad in terms of what he brings. He's as we've said, one of the best one-on-one defenders probably in the Premier League in terms of how he defends. He's versatile. We haven't really seen him in his best position probably at Tottenham. So, him battling with Porro was a really good prospect, a really good idea. So to lose that would be a shame. But if De Zerbi ain't fancying him, I think we would happily take the money. But the problem is, if we take the money, it's going to be hard to replace someone and get someone in as good as him for that kind of money, isn't it?
Yeah, for that money. But if we want to pay a bit more, I'm not against it. Like I said.
But you're paying someone a bit more for a backup.
Yeah, for sure. But it's got to be someone that can seamlessly come in when needed. And you want to take that load off Pedro Porro. I know we're not going to be playing as many games this season, but we're going to hopefully be playing those level of games next season.
Some people have been suggesting, could Gray be the one filling in that position?
I prefer not. To be honest, I'd like to see him focus more on the central midfield. I haven't been that unhappy with him at right back, but he's just not a right back, and I think you can see when he is at right back, he's not a right back. So I prefer to get square pegs and square holes.
It's true, but De Zerbi demands different things from his fullbacks than Frank does, or Tudor, and actually he's used players like Gray a lot in that position. So I wonder if De Zerbi looks at things. I think Gray could do a really good job for me in that role.
If De Zerbi thinks that, then I'm all for it, because I think he's got the ability on the ball. Obviously, not as much as like a Pedro Porro, but if De Zerbi thinks that's the way to go, I'm not against it. I'm not against it, and also it gives him game time as well, because those minutes are going to be few and far between starting in the Premier League.
The only problem is.
But it wouldn't be my first choice, not to.
Yeah, the only problem is it's again kind of we're using him maybe outside of his best position, and it takes away from that development.
At this point, that's where he's played the majority of football in his career.
It's true. Yeah, that's the reality.
Because that's where he played the whole season.
And didn't De Zerbi say he was asked about Gray, wasn't he? And he kind of said, look, he needs to kind of pick a position. The problem is he good enough to be starting in centre midfield for us right now? Especially with the players we've got coming in. The reality is the reality is no. I mean, I'm not saying he can't play in that position, but if De Zerbi's really serious about us challenging up at the higher echelons of the league and he's getting all these big players, is Gray up to that challenge to be one of the options in that position right now at that level? I'm not saying in general, I'm not saying in the Premier League, I'm just saying at that level, top four, that kind of stuff. I think the jury's definitely out on that. So maybe he's seeing it as if, look, he can if he can play an inverted right back role for me, he can spend a lot of time in central midfield anyway. He gets game time there, he can fill in there, and also he's still an option centre mid if we need him. But maybe he thinks, does he see him long term more as a right back potentially? I do wonder. I'm trying to think of some examples. There are some examples. Sometimes, you think a certain positions you're better, like Matthias Nunes, for example. He was brilliant. He was a centre mid at Wolves, and he was great there. He was signed as a centre mid at City, but he was just never quite good enough to play centre mid. But he is a right back, and he plays there regularly now. He's pretty much a right back now. So that's like an example of someone who transitioned. So I wonder
It's true,
if Gray
but I
could
don't
do
think
something
the case
similar.
is of Gray that he's not good enough to play central midfield in terms of his attributes. I think still suits central midfield more than anything.
But Nunes is good enough to play centre, but he's not good enough for City, is my point.
Yeah, but I think Gray could be good enough for Spurs in the central midfield. Obviously not because we've got the players that we've just brought in. I think the case is the same in central midfield than at right back for Archie Gray, because we've got Pedro Porro, we've got Tonali, we've got so much better players than him right now. So it's just a case of, can you find a role for him? Is that the role for him? I don't know. I'd prefer to see him in central midfield. If it is an inverted right back role, you're seeing him in the central areas of the pitch anyway.
But interestingly, if we do that, make Gray a right back, it leaves potentially a spot there for Bergvall to stay, potentially.
I wouldn't like to see Gray solely as a right back. And that's it. You're telling him you're a right back now, and that's it. I think he might get a bit frustrated with that. Just like Bergvall was getting frustrated with not playing in his favourite position. I think Gray has, said his favourite position is an 8, and if he's just goes through this season saying, you know what, I'm only playing right back, is he going to get frustrated with that, saying,
Potentially.
well, my development isn't going as planned here?
If you would have told Nunes if he was going to be a right back, maybe he would have got frustrated as well. But look at him now. He's a good right back, and he pretty much plays there consistently. I know he's not Nunes. Great, he's a different player. I'm just saying it's a interesting comparison of a player who Nunes was brought in to be a centre mid, and he just didn't quite make the grade, even though he's a very good player. You would say Nunes is a better centre mid than Gray is, but yet he wasn't good enough to play there for City.
It depends how he develops there. If he's developing on a really good trajectory, and he's having top performances at right back like Nunes was at Man City, and his development is going in the way that he's planned, then yeah, fine. But if his development stagnates while playing at right back, then that's when the questions are going to start to pop up, and that's where the frustrations are going to come from Archie Gray. Next up, we'll talk about a player that we haven't spoken about here before, called Mbaye. Is it Mbaye? Ibrahim Niang. Ibrahim Mbaye of PSG. Sebastian Dennis saying that Tottenham are interested in him, but Aston Villa are currently the front runners right now. I don't know much about him. I know he's a right winger.
Well, he played in the World Cup, didn't he? He scored against France. He actually looked really great in the World Cup. He actually looked really interesting. I know he plays at PSG. He's like a fringe player there, but he definitely is sharp. He's quick on his feet. Clearly quite a raw talent. But I remember being very impressed when he did come on against France, and he was causing them quite a bit of trouble. And obviously he got that goal, which put Senegal very briefly back in the game in the World Cup. I think clearly, he's a clear talent, but is he more talented than some of the other players that we're looking at in that position who are a bit older, probably a bit more ready-made than him? I can't see us signing him, considering that we're going for more proven players. I don't think we sign him as one of our starting wingers. I don't see that happening. But he looks like a good talent.
He's 18 years of age at the end of the day. If we sign him, he's more of a mould of like a Bergvall or Archie Gray, maybe trying to bed them in somehow. It depends as well what's happening with Kulusevski. All of a sudden, if Kulusevski is not going to play any part in this season, you might need even another one to come in. But it's interesting. He wants to leave PSG. He's not getting any sort of game time there, and he wants game time. Is he going to get that game time at Tottenham? Is he more likely to get it at Aston Villa? Probably.
I mean, Sancho's not coming back. They could probably got a spot there. They're willing to take a risk on him. Then he probably does get more game time than Villa at Tottenham right now, depending on who we sign, obviously. If he's like a Savinho alternative, then maybe he would get game time at Tottenham. But I think right now, like the players we're looking at, Savinho, Anusa, those kind of players of that profile, he's a similar profile to them. I'd rather go for one of those two, I think.
Yeah,
right
I totally agree. Let's get into the Rafael Leao situation. A lot has been said about Rafael Leao. Daniel Longo says that Leao wants to play in the Premier League and Tottenham is a welcomed option. The winger is waiting for an official offer from Tottenham of around 60 million euros. Leao is ready to accept Spurs even without being in the Champions League. Spurs journo says that Tottenham will now explore a deal for Rafael Leao following Portugal's World Cup exit. Spurs expect to face competition from other clubs for Leao's signature, and heard from Spurs says that Tottenham now are expected to step up talks with Leao following the World Cup involvement. Current expectation of a deal looks like a loan with an obligation to buy, surely if it meets like some certain criteria, which I think is the best move for Spurs. Go for that loan if he gets a certain amount of goals, certain amount of appearances, something like that. Champions League football. Then we'll make that loan an obligation and sign him permanently next summer. I've been impressed with what I've seen from him in this World Cup. I thought it was madness for Portugal not to play him last night. He came on and he was a threat down that left-hand side. The guy's pace, it just blows you away. I mean, he had Porro on toast at times in the game yesterday. I'd love to see Leao at Spurs. I was a bit on the fence of it maybe before the World Cup, but now seeing him a bit more, I'd like to see him at Spurs.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence about it, but I'm definitely would be excited if we were to sign him. If we were to press the button and bring him to Tottenham, with all the fanfare, all the buzz around it, it will be hard not to be swept up by all of that. And if you just look at a highlights reel of his time at AC Milan, it's hard not to look at that and think what a player we are getting. But sometimes the reality doesn't quite meet the fantasy. And is Leao one of those cases? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. Is he actually? Would he live up to the hype? Is he the player that is as good as everyone says he is, or as good as he thinks he is? That's kind of the questions we got to ask ourselves, and I guess we'd only really know that. We won't really know that until he comes, because you don't really know what's gone on at AC Milan, why it's gone stale, why is he not quite as consistent as he could be or should be? Could De Zerbi get that out of him? Is De Zerbi the right coach for him? Or is there something wrong with him and his mentality and how he approaches things that is holding him back? Is it Milan holding him back, or is he holding himself back? I guess are the question marks you got to ask yourself. What's definitely not in doubt is his talent and how good of a player he is on his day. That everyone can agree. He could be a special player.
De Zerbi will get him on side, man. I'm convinced of it.
But it's all, yeah, for sure. But it's all well and good having those initial conversations and being convinced, and that's fine. And if that happens, and we decide, yeah, you know what, we're going to bring him, that's great. But you don't ever truly know, do you, until you bring someone through the door, and then when things get tough, if we're on bad form or whatever. When things are going against you a bit, maybe he's on bad form, and when you have to get him out of it, how does he respond to that? Those are things you only really know when you're with a player during the season, all those problems being ironed out. Can we get him, at his best consistently? Those are obviously questions we won't really know, because you can have those initial conversations, you can be convinced, and those things are important. If De Zerbi looks in his eyes and he can convince there's fire in there, and he's coming to Tottenham because he wants to prove himself against the best, and he believes he's got levels to go up, then that's obviously important. But you don't truly know the nature of a player until you've actually got them in the squad, and over not just not even 6 months or 1 year period. Sometimes maybe he plays well for a year, we sign him up, and then all of a sudden it goes wrong and he starts, those old traits come back again. You don't truly know, do you, until you're in that situation. So those are still the risks. But I think it's worth the risk. I do think, especially for a loan with an obligation, it's hard to argue that it's not worth the risk to bring in someone like Leao. Albeit it could be a fairly big outlay when it comes to wages and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, when it comes to the transfer fee, it's compared to his talent, it is fairly modest. Like when you look at other players of his kind of ability, it's going to be a lot more to get someone like him in.
You sell Vuskovic, who's never played a minute, for 52, and bring in a Leao of a similar price. I think that's crazy. Rafael Leao has been a big name for quite some time in the game, and it will bring such a buzz, such excitement to bring someone like him in. And if it doesn't work out, then you cut the loan at the end of the year. And if it's not working out through the season, then you've got hopefully a Savinho or another winger who we're going to bring in to compete against him. So
why do you think? Obviously I take your point, and I would be willing to risk it and just roll the dice kind of on him in terms of could we get the best out of him. But why do you think no other bigger club is looking to touch him at the moment? What is really holding him back? Is that why have they looked at him and say he's not worth the risk? Yet we would say he is.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? First of all, Spurs. I think we just need a player like this, that someone to take up that mantle that Sonny left on that left-hand side, that can get goals and assists, even in his bad times, or not his bad times, but his not as good times. He's shown that he can get consistent goals, consistent assists, consistent goal contributions. I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't tell you why other teams not looking at him. Maybe, we're talking about us being kind of unsure to do it because we don't want to pay the transfer fee. We want to put him on a loan with an obligation to buy. So obviously there is risk there, and there is kind of apprehension from us even who would like to give him the go. So you're looking at top managers and top players. They've obviously got those apprehensions as well. I think. Look, the suggestion is there will be other clubs in for him as well. It won't be just Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, but a lot of people are saying that it's Saudi, it's Turkey, it's not the top clubs, is it?
It'll be interesting to see who it actually is. Are there any other Premier League clubs or Champions League Premier League clubs that are interested in him? I mean, I'd be surprised if teams like Newcastle and Aston Villa are not interested in him. Like they were interested in like Jadon Sancho and Rashford. Like, why would they not be interested in Rafael Leao?
I don't know.
Like, for me, Jadon Sancho, many more question marks than Rafael Leao.
It just seems as though Leao is trying to be pushed on us at the moment. He's kind of lacking suitors. His agent is clearly trying to get him to the Premier League and get him. And Tottenham's obviously the most viable option because we've got a lot of money to spend and we're looking for a superstar as well. And Leao kind of fits that bill in terms of the big name, exciting name, creates buzz, all that kind of stuff.
It's because his career hasn't gone in the trajectory that everyone thought it would have gone in. That is the stone cold fact. He was getting double digits in goals like 3-4 years ago, and he hasn't hit that since. He's always got like 8 or 9 goals a season. His career hasn't gone on that upward trajectory. It's kind of like stagnated in the last couple of years, and those are the reservations that people have.
Yeah, but Arsenal, they've just sold Trossard. They've got an opening on the left wing. They don't seem that interested in him. Like Liverpool probably could do with someone like him. They don't seem so interested. So is there something that they know that we don't? That's the question, I guess, we ask ourselves.
I don't think so. I don't think there's something that they know we don't. I think everything they know we're talking about right now. And I think the apprehensions from the clubs are fair enough, are completely fair enough. And I can see why. But I would take a punt on him. I'm not saying that he's going to 100% rip it up and be amazing for us. But watching him in this World Cup, I think he's got attributes that we need at this football club. And I think he can provide for us.
That's definitely true. As I've said before, like I like the idea of Savinho because he creates chances and he's electric and he's great on the ball with his pace. But we just don't have a player who can maybe just pull something out of the bag, just do something special if things are tight, if the game's going against you, you're not at your free-flowing best, which will happen on occasion. Then when you've got someone like Leao who can just turn up, who can just pull something out the hat, pull rabbit out the hat if you need him to, that's the kind of player that as well we are missing in the squad, and he would obviously fit that bill. So from that point of view, I completely agree. When we talk about someone who gets you goal contributions, who's got that little bit of magic, who's more effective in the final third, I think Leao fits that bill. He is when he gets in the final third. He makes good decisions, I feel. He's obviously got great execution. We've seen that consistently.
I was reading as well. Who was his manager last season? Was it Allegri?
Was it Allegri at AC Milan? Might be.
No, Allegri was at Juve, right, last season?
I can't remember. He's flirted between the both.
I can't remember who AC Milan manager was last season, but I was reading that. Well, first of all, I told you last time that he said he was playing 5-6 months with an injury,
true.
Playing through the pain barrier. And on top of that, he was played completely out of position. He was played as a second striker a lot last season. So that as well could play into it.
Yeah, but I think it'll definitely be an exciting signing. I'm not saying sitting here I don't want him, because if we sign him tomorrow, I'll be absolutely just like, what is going on at this club? We're getting Leao as well. Wow, what a signing, what a player. But there is a big kind of red flag there. Like, is this actually a smart thing, or are we doing it just to get a big name? That's the question we've got to ask ourselves.
Yeah, but I think you bring him in alongside like a Savinho or someone else, like a Somerville, whatever, whoever it is. I think that's two real talents that even with Rafael Leao, right, how he's been over the last couple of seasons, injured, playing out of position, is miles better than what we got. So what we're doing here.
Yeah, it's true.
So there you have it. Bring in Leao. That's what I say. Next up, let's talk about Junior Kroupi. So, with Kroupi, Spurs journal saying that Spurs have had pushback from Bournemouth on Kroupi, and they insist he's not for sale. I mean, they would say that, wouldn't we? I mean, there's been a lot of people saying, I think Alex Crook said it, and maybe some others, that Spurs are poised to make an £85 million bid for Kroupi. I wonder if that will make them blink or not. But yeah, the line from Bournemouth is he's not for sale.
Which makes sense, because he's only had one good season. Now, if they want to keep him, they're not looking to sell him, but it will take an astronomical fee. That's what we've heard. And if we put the astronomical fee down, will they sell? Will they accept it? If we put down, 90 million, will they really turn that down after one season they just signed it for 12? And Bournemouth are the kind of club who would back themselves to reinvest that smartly and recruit to basically. They've done it before with Hyson, with Zabriani, with Kirkes, and they just went from strength to strength. Well, they would back themselves, I bet, to do it with Kroupi as well, regardless of how much they get for him. But obviously they're going to want a big fee. So I don't believe they wouldn't sell if we put that money, if we put serious money on the table. I think they would, but obviously the start of the negotiation would be that, because I think they don't want to sell, like they want to keep him. But if we're paying ridiculous money, then it's in their interest to sell at some point.
And it looks like only Spurs would be in the running as well to get a Kroupi, because
For that price, anyway.
For that price, yeah, because PSG, I think it said yesterday that they're not willing to go and pay that sort of money for Kroupi. Teams like Arsenal, are they willing to go and put that money down for Kroupi? I doubt it. Liverpool, are they going to put that? I don't know. So it looks as though Spurs are probably the only ones mad enough to pay this kind of price.
We're crazy, but you know what? We're building a super team here. We don't care what it costs. So look, get him in. I love Kroupi.
No
I think
expenses spared at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Exactly.
And last but not least, you thought we were done with him. You thought we'd done talking about him.
Who?
He's back. Randal
No.
Kolo Muani.
No.
Randal Kolo Muani.
I don't even want to hear this update. I don't even want you to go into this.
L'Equipe are reporting
No.
that Tottenham are understood to have made contact with PSG in regards to the availability of signing Randal Kolo Muani on a permanent basis.
I heard he left his wallet at the Tottenham Stadium, so we need to get in contact with him.
Juventus are understood to be keen on reviving their interest as well. I mean,
No.
this is solely being put in there, the press, the French press, by the way,
Just
by
to piss
PSG.
us off, I think.
Not to piss us off, but, well, that as well. But basically to say, Juventus, you better hurry up, because Spurs are the sharks in the water are swarming.
No, just no. I don't think I need to dignify that rumour with a response. We are not re-signing Randal Kolo Muani. We're talking about Leao, Savinho, Kroupi, and then we're talking about a guy who everyone was happy to see the back of last season, who
Did you not see that hero's ovation he got when he went off against Aston Villa?
Oh, of course, because he did a dribble. No. End the stream. Yeah, just move on. We are not getting Randal Kolo Muani. Absolutely no chance.
Never know. De Zerbi could get it out of him.
No.
That's what I heard last season.
He got probably more out of him than the other people, but no.
So,
No.
am I right in saying that you don't want Randal Kolo Muani?
Yeah, that would be accurate.
Is that right?
No.
Yeah, I'd very much agree with you. I mean, I was done with him after the first few months of last season, to be honest. I think he was so bad. So bad. Let him be Juventus's problem. That's what I say, and he will be Juventus's problem. He will go there. I think PSG are just trying to drive up the price. That's all this is.
Don't mention him and Tottenham ever again. We want to forget about it. We want to forget he ever played for our club. He's finished. He's not welcome here. He's not welcome back at Tottenham. He's welcome to come and watch a game. That's fine.
Yeah, would he be welcome for an interview here on WeAreTottenhamTV?
Oh, he's welcome for an interview. He's just not welcome to put on the show on the football pitch again.
Oh, off the foot, which is fine.
Off the football pitch is fine.
All right, well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today. Spurs being linked with Randal Kolo Muani is not a name I thought I would hear when I woke up this morning, but here we are. We've got Kroupi, we've got Leao, and then Randal Kolo Muani, who was just on a terrible loan for us.
I heard we've also sounded out in Ndombele.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah. Deserby can make him cook, I tell you. Deserby can make him cook. Bring him home.
Yeah, Timo as well.
I reckon Deserby could get Timo to cook.
Get
100%.
Timo in, Harry Winks back in the frame. Ollie
he's
Skip,
available.
You know, all
Get
of them.
them all
Bring
in.
them all back.
Why not? Dan Juma, I heard he's available.
It's a new era at Spurs. That's what we're building.
I think Deserby can. He's gonna show all these old managers up. Look, why couldn't you get all the best out of all these players? I'm gonna get them all back, and we're gonna be cooking.